Welcome to the very first episode of the Empowered Fertility podcast. This is going to be the place where we dive deep into all things fertility, everything you want to know and everything you don't even know that you need to know about fertility. This is where we're going to talk about it. I'm Dr. Brenna Squires, and I am a licensed clinical psychologist and fertility support coach. And I am so glad you're here today. One of the reasons why I'm so excited about this podcast is I know firsthand how overwhelming and how confusing learning about fertility can be. You're not really sure where you should go, where you should look, or who you should talk to. There's so much information out there. It's really hard to filter through all of the noise and filter through all of the ads or the people who are just trying to sell you something to find something that actually works. And as a licensed clinical psychologist, I have been helping men and women on their mental health and their relationships for over a decade now. But it wasn't until I had my own health challenges and I had my own fertility challenges that I really started to dive deeper into understanding why I'm experiencing all of these things, understanding where some of these things are coming from. I have learned so much over my almost 8-year journey now. I have been on this journey for almost 8 years, trying to figure out the why, trying to figure out the barriers, trying to figure out the different resources that are available to be able to help you boost your health, not just boost your fertility, but boost your overall health. And I'll share a little bit more about my stories in later episodes because there are so many different things that I've learned along the way. But I want you to just know right now that I understand. I understand exactly what you're going through right now. I understand the heartbreak of having negative pregnancy test after negative pregnancy test. I understand the despair and the frustration and just the emotions that you can't really explain when your period starts again. And you feel like now you have to just grieve the loss of what just happened. And and the fear of what will happen next month. Is this going to happen again? And just the idea of now what? Now what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do the same thing? I get it all. I understand exactly what you're going through. And my personal fertility journey is what inspired this podcast. I created this show because I don't want anything, absolutely anything, stopping you from improving your health and having a happy, healthy baby. So, what you can expect from this podcast, you can expect a lot of knowledge, a lot of support, and a lot of resources. I'm going to be sharing all of the information that you need to be able to improve your mental health and to be able to improve your relationships on this journey. I'm also going to have tons of guests, tons of guests. I'm going to be meeting with different types of health professionals and fertility experts that will uncover barriers that you've probably never heard about. I'm going to be speaking with um, dietitians and nutritionists and reproductive endocrinologists and homeopaths and functional health doctors, you name it, I'm going to be meeting with them. So whether you're just getting started on this journey and you're just looking to have a baby and you're not really sure what to do, or maybe you're experiencing fertility challenges and you've been trying for a while, or perhaps you felt like you've tried absolutely everything. You've tried absolutely everything and you don't know what else to do. Or maybe you're just curious about fertility in general. Wherever you fall on this spectrum, this podcast is for you. You're in the right place. And I want to make this very clear right from the start. This podcast is not just for women. This podcast is for men too. We're going to be going over everything that you need to know because it takes two to make a baby, and both of you matter. Both mom and dad matter. So we're going to talk about everything that you need to know. And we're going to make sure that both of you feel supported as individuals and both of you feel supported as a couple. And so today I'm kicking things off with the 5 fertility foundations that you need to know before you do anything else. These are really the 5 things that I wish I knew sooner about fertility, and I'm sharing them with you right now because I want to collapse time for you. I want to collapse time for you and take you to that next level so you don't have to have 8 years of infertility. You can just kind of jump to that next step right now. And if you've been experiencing infertility for longer than that, I am so sorry that you're experiencing that. And I'm so sorry that you have been on this journey for so long. And I really hope that you find a resource in this podcast, one or many resources in this podcast that will just be that key that unlocks your next steps to help you get pregnant and carry your baby to full term. And so let's go into those 5 things that I wish you knew. So the first thing is your fertility is a reflection of your overall health. And so let me say that again. The first thing I wish I knew was that your fertility is a reflection of your overall health. And what this really means is that if you are experiencing any type of fertility challenge, it means that there is something going on in your body because having a baby is secondary to keeping you alive. That's a little frustrating to hear, but it's true. Your body is going to prioritize you and keeping you alive over reproducing. And so if you are not able to get pregnant or carry a baby to full term, it means that there's something going on in your body that you may or may not be aware of, but there's something going on and that it needs to be uncovered. And this is going to be different for everybody. So you probably are thinking, well, what about this person over here? I know they're super unhealthy. Or what about this person over here? They have tons of problems. How did they get pregnant? This is because it's different for everybody. Everybody's genes, everybody's epigenetics, we'll go into that in a little bit in a later episode. Everybody's health pattern is a little bit different. And so it's all about your fertility, your collective fertility as a couple. And so there's some underlying health issue going on there. And it brings me to number 2, unexplained infertility. That's just a diagnosis. And that's a diagnosis that means that they don't really know what's going on right now. It could be because your doctor is still running tests and they need that diagnostic code of unexplained infertility to have the insurance to be able to cover to run more tests. Or perhaps they're still trying to figure out what's going on. It basically means they're not sure yet. But going back to number 1, they know something's going on. They're just not sure. Number 3, the third thing that you need to know is that there are so many more barriers to fertility than you are aware of. But there are also so many treatments and tests out there that you don't know because there are actually thousands of doctors, thousands upon thousands of health professionals all around the world helping people get pregnant with things that you have never heard about. And so there are going to be many tests that we go over in this podcast that you probably never heard about. There's also going to be many treatment options that you've never heard about because what we're really doing is we're looking at all of those missing links. We're identifying all of the missing links. We're looking for all of those lost keys out there, whatever analogy you want to use. We're looking for all of those things that we never knew about, and we are uncovering them so that you can improve your health, you can improve your fertility, and you can have that happy, healthy pregnancy and baby that you've dreamed of. Number 4, the fourth thing that I want to share with you is your doctor is your health advisor. They are not the decision maker. So it's so important to learn how to advocate for your needs and for what you want in your fertility journey. It is really good to trust your doctor, but at the same time, your doctor only knows so much. Your doctor knows everything that they have been taught and everything that they are diving deep into. but they don't know everything. They don't know all of the other barriers that could be hindering your fertility. And so if you find that you are stuck with that doctor, but you want to keep going, stay tuned and keep listening to this podcast, because I'm going to be bringing on experts that'll give you ideas on different tests that you can ask your doctor for. And so it's important to be able to learn how to advocate for what you want. That's one of the big things that I do with couples that come for the fertility support with me, is I teach them how to advocate for what they want and how to advocate for their needs, because this is something that we have not been taught. We have not been taught as a society how to advocate for what we want in the doctor's office, how to ask for certain tests, how to question a diagnosis, how to ask for more information. And so this is something that I educate couples on, is how to ask for all of this stuff and how to partner with their doctor to be able to have the best care possible. And so this brings me to the last thing, number 5. Your support team is so important. So it's important to choose your team wisely. Boundaries are key. Choosing your team wisely is key. Voicing your needs is so important. But the biggest takeaway with this is making sure your team is supportive. We would like to think that everybody around us is supportive of our journey. We would like to think that family and friends are there to encourage us and to support us. But quite frankly, that is not the case. Not everybody knows what's going on in this journey. Not everybody understands what it's like to wake up the next morning and realize you have lost the baby that you held in your body for a couple of months. Not everybody knows what it feels like to never have a positive pregnancy test. Not everybody knows what it's like to go to the doctor month after month and to know the name of the person who's drawing your blood. I remember a time where I went to the doctor so many times that I was friends with the phlebotomist. I knew her by name, and we were just chatting about daily life. And that seems just so silly, that you would just have this connection, but it's something that not a lot of people know about. And so it's so important to be able to have people around you who are supportive, so that they can give that empathy, that encouragement, and just really that helping hand when you're feeling down the most. And so I will dive deeper into all of these topics. I didn't want this episode to be so long, but I'll dive deeper into all of those topics. And those are really the 5 fertility foundations that I wish I knew sooner. And if one or more of those stood out to you, I want to encourage you to take some time this week to reflect or journal on how that applies to your story. And remember, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. That's why this podcast exists, to walk with you, to encourage you, and to empower you with tools for your fertility journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you know anybody else who's going through this journey, I want to encourage you to share this with them. This small act could just bring them much more hope. And if you have any ideas for the other podcast episodes, if you have questions about what's going on, I want to encourage you to just put them in the comment section. And so thank you so much for being here. I'm Dr. Brenna Squires, and this is the Empowered Fertility Podcast. I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us today on the Empowered Fertility Podcast. For access to the bonus content, as well as exclusive resources to improve your health and fertility, head over to the Community Resources Center. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Remember, your story is not over yet. There's always another path forward, and we're here to explore it together. See you next time.